Alright guys, I'm here to talk about a 4 Secret Beast list that I played at the TCG Player States event in Michigan. And I actually haven't been playing much since BFA got released, but I really wanted to go to this event. There's some great prize support supported by the BC Comics Laevatienn. They gave away over $1,000 in prize credit and wall player points and the mats, of course. So great event, had a lot of fun there. But yeah, I play tested this deck for like a little bit before I went to the event. Wasn't really sure on the deck list, but I ended up going 9-0 and won the whole thing. So it's not that bad. There are a couple of things I'm going to point out. I'm showing you the original deck list that I took to the tournament. Since I did build it kind of fast, there are of course some things I'd like to change, but overall it did really solid. So I'm just going to go through the deck kind of quickly to show you the list. I'll also type a list in the description down below. And then afterwards, I'll kind of talk about some of the cards and just talk about them a little bit more, because this is a very different Sacred Beast list than what was commonly run before BFA got released. So let's just go through it real quick. Obviously, it's Reflect. Don't really need to talk about him. Yeah. 2 in Magic Stone. 4 First Flight's Memoria. You do splash different colors, and you need a lot of colors for the huanglong, so you have to run this. And 4 Rulers Memoria. I only had like one game where I had difficulty getting Regalia for a Rulers Memoria, so out of 9 matches, 1 game isn't bad. We run a pretty decent list of Regalia to hit it. Speaking of which, we run 4 Orb, 3 Marybell, only 1 Horn, because you really don't want to be playing the Sacred Beast from hand. So really you're using this for the shuffling, because you can't pump Reflect either. So the first 2 effects are kind of like not relevant. Yeah, I think I might have used Horn once to play Sacred Beast from hand, but like 1 or 2 games out of 9 matches, like it just shows you how much you're really not using it for the will. So you don't want to be running more than 1. 2 is okay, because like there are some games that I was like, man, I really wish I had 2, because I want to just be shuffling my deck more and not using 4 counters to search for Horn, shuffling it, and then using another 4 counters to search for the card I want, because we do run a couple of 1-offs. And then 1 Laevatienn. It's just nice to be able to search for the huanglong and play it on the same turn if you need to or whatever. And then let's go into the Resonators. This is our only early drop, is 3 Wind Sprite. The light is really nice from this because of the cards that we play. So, and then that's basically it for like normal Resonators. It's just the 3 Wind Sprite and then Sacred Beast. We have 3 huanglong and then 2 Qinq, 2 of each Sacred Beast. So the reason for this is you don't really want to run more than 2 sets, because if you've dropped 2 sets of Sacred Beast on your opponent, there's really no reason to drop another one. You should either have enough control to win you the game, or you should have 1 on the second drop just off killing their stuff and swinging with your first set that you dropped or whatever. It's irrelevant to run 3. It just clogs up the deck, makes it harder for you to mull everything to the bottom of the deck and everything. And then for spells, we have 4 Blessing. You absolutely need to hit the Rulers Memoria, and it's kind of one of the best ramp spells, unfortunately, right now. 3 Rewriting. This is something that I threw in. I definitely cut this from the list. I just kind of threw it into the car because I was like, well, what if I don't hit my rulers? Like I used it a couple of times for when I only had 2 Rulers Memoria or something, and I wanted to get all 4 off huanglong. But most of the time you're going to hit 4 colors when you're dropping huanglong, and it was really annoying to have in the deck, because if you hit this off a filter when you're trying to hit something else, like you don't really know what to put on the bottom, because you don't know what your next card is going to be that you draw off this. It's just like, I found it more frustrating as a filler than anything else. And this is a 41 card list, so I definitely cut at least 1. Run 2 if you like the card. If you don't, cut it. There's some other options that I'll talk about that I wish I ran in a second. 3 Wall of Wind, because it's strong. 3 Seal. You could possibly run 4 of these. This was like one of the cards that just saved me so many matches. You don't run Moon, so you can't make it unchaseable, but just having like Reflect flipped with its seal is just so strong. You know, like if you drop a Huang and you usually you don't have enough mana for a seal, but like, I don't know, it's just, it saved me so many games. I mean, like, and if I didn't have Reflect flipped or something and they were trying to sprint OTK me, because this is a slow deck, I had a couple opponents try to do that. I had one that actually succeeded. But this is just like, it can just solve, it just keeps you alive until you get huanglong out. And then there's 2 Separation of Body and Souls. I mean, this card goes hand in hand with Reflect. It's a 1-cost kill spell when you pump something on their side on your turn, so it's amazing. I wouldn't run more than 2 though, because like, since your Sacred Beasts do kill so many things when they come out, like you get to bounce 1 and kill 1, and then like if they have something rested, you can usually like buff your own swiftness, the fire swiftness one, and then like knock into that. Like you have just so much control when you drop your huanglong. You don't really need to be running a ton of these. Plus, like, you really focus on filtering through your deck. You want to make sure that all your Sacred Beasts are on the bottom of your deck. Like if you mulligan and then you draw into like 3 Sacred Beasts, you're not going to be trying to use this that much. You're going to be trying to like use your filter every turn to make sure that you can drop your huanglongs and get all 4. And you just don't want the Sacred Beast in your hand. It limits your options. But yeah, I mean, like, there's not even really that many targets for this card that I needed. Like, I used it on really stupid cards sometimes. Like, I used it on a Matchstick Girl one time just because, like, it was just giving me too much damage to the face. It's a good card. It's a great Temple Swing, but this deck doesn't need more than 2. I mean, this card is really, really nice against, like, White Arthur and stuff like that. Like, I mean, I had a person drop 2 Marybells off the Machina thing and like almost kill me, and I cleared the board the next turn just like by this and like a huanglong, and it's just it's really nice to have, and it's a great temple card. And then going into our one-ofs, talking about Machina, Interdimensional Escape, great card against Machina and fairies, and Kaguya bunnies, anything that just swarms the field. I mean, we don't run any early Resonators to block with. We have the Wind Sprites and the Huanglong is the next card that we play. You're not really trying to play those Sacred Beasts, so you go from a 1-drop to a 6-drop, so you just need some spells to keep you alive, and this is one of the best ones. You could even possibly run 2 in the main, depending on your meta. Like, if your locals just has a ton of machines or something, I'd say run 2 in the main. This card is just absolutely nuts at keeping you alive, and like, even if they keep their strongest one, like if you're playing against Machina and they keep a Marybell, like, you can just kill it with Separation of Memory and Soul next turn. So it's so strong to have. And I mean, usually, also, that's another thing I need to mention. This card is supposed to hurt both players, but since you're usually only playing it when you have a Wind Sprite out, you usually aren't going to try to drop this off huanglong, because once you drop huanglong, your board is usually better than their board, and you just don't want to get rid of all your Sacred Beasts. So like, if this card really doesn't hurt you, because either you have a Wind Sprite out or you sometimes have nothing out. So this is just like a board wipe for only them most of the time in this deck. And then we have Black Moonbeam. This card is just great. I love it. Helps against the control matchups. Obviously, they can use it on you too, which is why we use 1 Refuge main. I only run 1 of each because I had another Refuge in here at first, but most deck lists aren't running 2 Black Moonbeam, and if they do kill your Refuge, then you can kind of like just wait it out, don't flip over until you can like horn your Refuge back in or something like that. I just didn't want to run multiple in the main because like we don't run any mid-range Resonators, so Refuge isn't helping our mid game. Like, if we drop it in the mid game, like, it doesn't matter if they kill it. Like, if there's nothing really to protect with this other than Reflect. If they're trying to use kill spells on your Sacred Beast after you drop huanglong, like if they're 1-for-1ing, you just played 1 card and got four Sacred Beast out. So like, if they 1-for-1, it's bad for them. So I only run 1. I do main, I do side more in case I do run into like a Dark Owls deck that has like 2 mained and more in the side or something like that. But yeah, I just run 1 of each because you can search them out with Reflect. So, and then let's go into the sideboard real quick. I do 2 Moonbreeze. You can do 3. I just did 2 because against Machina, their 1-drop that has 300 attack with target attack just absolutely destroys your wind sprites. Like, there's nothing you can do. Even if you leave it untapped, it's just gonna die. So it's not good to have wind sprites against Machina. But the moon doesn't really help you against like it doesn't really help you cast any cards that you need. Like, if you're trying to pull off the interdimensional escape that uses 2 white, you might not be able to hit it till like turn 4 or 5 if you're not using wind sprite. So it is better to main wind sprite. But this can help in some matchups, or like if you do need to use Seal of Wind of Light with Awakening, like if you're playing against a Reflect matchup and like they just have a better matchup than you or something, and you just need to seal that one crucial card and not have it get negated, you can side those in too. It's an option. But yeah, and like I said, you could run 3 in the side deck. When I played against machines, I just took out 3 Wind Sprite and I put in an interdimensional escape and 2 Moonbreeze. So it's either one if you want to do. And then we have 3 Fairy of the Sacred Visions. This is purely for Wind Secluded Refuge and Barrier of Shadows. Dark decks can kind of hurt this deck because Barrier just you really rely on counters on Reflect in this deck. Because you don't run any mid-range Resonators, you use Reflect as a control aspect very, very hard. Like, yeah, you search for your 1-drops once in a while, and if you absolutely need to, you search for Huanglong. But most of the time, you're just trying to negate spells, you're trying to bounce cards to their hand just to keep up the tempo to your advantage and to just keep your life points. So this is really crucial so that you can keep getting your orbs. And also, if you are trying to destroy their Reflect, you want to pop their Wind Secluded so you can just Black Moonbeam them. If you play this card right, like, don't play it turn 1. You want to keep it in your hand because you can banish it the turn that you play it. So they might drop 1 Wind Secluded Refuge and flip Reflect, and if you drop this and banish it, the Reflect is unprotected, and like you could have it so that they don't expect it and kill a Reflect, which is huge. I mean, if you're playing Reflect and you kill the Reflect in the matchup, you just got a huge advantage. So this is a really crucial card. And then 2 Priscia. This card's amazing. It kills Mana Dorks right away. If you go turn 1, this is a great card to put in. Most of the time, you're not actually going to be using the Professor of Love or Princess of Love, whatever it is. Just because, like I said, we don't really have any mid-range cards. And like, this isn't going to help you. I don't know. I never found a situation where I wanted to play this side of the card. This just helps more with maintaining the board control, and like, even if they use a spell to get rid of this or something, if you kill something with this card, it's worth it just to keep you alive. The whole point of this deck is just to stay alive until you can drop huanglong. And then after that, you should have enough control to really just keep the board control in your favor. I did have another one of these inside. I'd absolutely cut it. I just kind of threw this in there because I was making the sideboard in the car on the ride there, and I didn't know what else to put in. I was like, hey, this is a really good card, but it just doesn't fit in with the deck. 2 in the main is plenty enough. I never sided this in against any decks. It's just, I definitely cut it. Maybe put in another Moonbreeze Elf or whatever you want to put in. And then we have 1 more Black Moonbeam. You could cut the separation for another Black Moonbeam also. I mean, in the control matchup, this is a really necessary card to have, and if they only side 2 Refuge or something like that, this can really help you to have 2 or 3 Moonbeam. And then 3 down the drain. Fire is finally getting hurt very much. I sided this in against every Fire matchup, and I can't even explain how great it makes this deck. I mean, the whole point of this deck is just to try to stay alive because you don't have any blockers, and Fire will take, Red Rush will take advantage of that. I mean, if they're dropping Lancelots and you're just killing them before they even attack with this card, like, it's a really huge tempo swing, and even going second, like, this card can save you. So I'd almost run 4, but you just have to be careful with how many counter spells you have in the deck. But yeah, this is just, it's nuts. I love this card. And then we do side 2 more Refuges. Having 3 Refuge in the deck when you're scared of multiple Black Moonbeams is very vital. I did put in all 3 Refuge in one, two matchups, I think. One was a reflect match to control, and then another one had like a decent amount of black splashed in, and I was just scared of multiple moonbeams because this deck really relies on reflect. It's huge to the deck. You absolutely need it to search out stuff and just keep yourself alive. So you can't misplay and let your reflect die. Otherwise, you'll almost lose the game unless somehow they just like let you live until you can drop 2 huanglongs on them or something like that. And then last card in the sideboard is Interdimensional Escape. I already talked about this card. You're basically going to side it in when you play against machines or fairies and you want to have like 2 in the deck or something. So yeah, that's the deck. I mean, I said I was going to go in depth, but later after I did the deck, but I kind of did both at once, sorry. I guess like it's just talking about the different style of beast. I've been playing Sacred Beast ever since huanglong came out in TTW. I saw the card in a pre-release, and I just thought it was just the nuttiest card ever. I've been trying to play Sacred Beast earlier with like Reflect and Prisia, and it didn't really work. Like, there was never really a list that I thought was that competitive. But then when huanglong finally came out and Sacred Beast got some more support, I top 8 an ARG at Detroit, and we ended up splitting, but I felt like I could have got top 4 or maybe even higher just because like I really liked the deck and how it played at the time. And it used to be, that was when Grim Cluster was still available, so it was more of a combo-y, like ramp as hard as you can with elves and Gretels and 8 Umbralies and stuff like that, and drop huanglong on turn 3 or 4 and just start swinging for game before they can even deal with your board state. Now, since we just don't have that ramp, like if you turn 2 Blessing of Yggdrasil, since it comes in tapped, like you can't do anything on turn 2 if you don't have a mana dork turn 1. So like you can't ramp that fast because that could cost you game. Like I tried doing that against a Kaguya Bunny deck because I felt like that was my only way to win, was to ramp fast enough to drop huanglong before they could do anything. And they just ended up filling up their bunnies on the field and sprinting me to death because I just didn't have any board presence. So this is definitely like just a way completely different deck. You're not focused on ramping so much. Like you're dropping huanglong on turn 5 or 6. It's possible to drop it on 4 with like a blessing and a wind sprite, but most of the time your wind sprite's going to die by then, and you're not going to be playing multiple blessings. So this is definitely just way more of a control list. Like you're not playing any mid-range resonators, so it kind of helps because like just the matchup alone, they're going to have some dead cards against you. And like I said earlier, if they're saving their like memory of, or separation of memory and soul for your huanglong, like yeah, it's huge. Like they just use the 1 blue spell to kill your 6 spell huanglong, but you got 4 other cards, like 4 other strong cards off that card, so like it doesn't hurt you that much. If they do that, like if they just keep their high or if they keep their kill spells for that long anyways in their hand, like it's just gonna hurt them way more than it's gonna hurt you. So it's like it's kind of nice to just have like, and that's another thing. Like if a lot of decks right now are playing Celestial Wing Seraph, most of the time they're gonna drop that before you drop huanglong, just because Celestial Wing Seraph costs less. And like you might sacrifice a wind sprite or something. Big deal. Once you drop huanglong out, you can like kill the, or you can bounce the Lucifer, and if you do have another Sacred Beast, you can kill the Seraph or something like that. There's a lot of options that your deck has, and it's just so much better of a control deck than the other control decks out there. Like at the tournament, I played against Reflect match to control. I played against I actually didn't play against any Dark Alice or anything, but I have been playtesting it, and I still feel like it's better just because you don't rely on like single resonators. Like Seraph and Lucifer is a good combo, and like it's a great card advantage. I mean, you're paying 5 for 2 really strong resonators, but you're paying 6 for 4 really strong resonators, and it works out better. I didn't have any problem playing against control, and like aggro has slowed down enough where this deck can survive against it. I think this is like the best control deck in the meta right now. Of course, like everything's gonna change soon with Vingolf being released, the dual stones and everything, which is gonna have me trying to figure out how to play Sacred Beast again. But I'm probably gonna stick with this control kind of list, even when the dual stones come out, just because it feels really strong in this meta. So But yeah, if you guys have any questions about the list, how to play the deck, or even thoughts about what to change in the main deck, sideboard, let me know. Yeah, thanks guys.